Donnelly and Rob Apple. Rob has run something like 500 or 600 ultras. And Susan Donnelly, 500 or 600.
No way.
I mean, it's a huge amount.
This is me smiling. Yeah. Catch that bloody smile before it disappears.
579.
579. That's what I thought.
God.
All right, we're here with Bob Becker, and he's the race director of the Peanut Island 24-hour ultramarathon, and he's also an ultramarathoner himself. Tell us a little bit of why everybody's here and why this race is going on New Year's Eve.
I think most of these people just didn't want to put up with traffic on New Year's Eve. I think that's probably the bottom line. Greg, there's a tradition of 24-hour ultramarathon races on New Year's Eve, going back about 27 years to a race in Phoenix called Across the Years that's still going on and sells out every year. And one of the people that works here part-time as a lifeguard on this island in the summer is a runner and suggested this might not be a bad place for a run. So he called me one day, we checked it out, and here we are with the support of Palm Beach County. This is a fixed time race where you run for a fixed period of time, 24 hours, 12 hours, or 6 hours, and you see how far you can go in that period. So the winner is the person who runs the greatest number of miles during that period of time.
And they had a choice of running either 6 hours, 12, or 24.
That's correct.
We've already had a group that ran 6 hours.
First heat, yeah.
Yeah. How many miles did the leader go in that?
Well, you're asking me an unfair question. I didn't check the exact number,
okay.
but it's in the range of 34, 35 miles in that range.
Okay.
So moving pretty well.
And some of the people going 24 hours, how many miles can we expect them to go in 24 hours?
Well, there are people here that will do over 100 miles. One of the runners, the leader actually, who had to drop, he had a little bit of a ligament problem, to put it in perspective and to tell you how amazing some of these elite runners are. In September ran a race just like this one, a 24-hour race, and ran 154 miles, which is extraordinary. We won't have anybody doing that many miles, but we'll have a few over 100.
And how many runners are participating in this race?
We have 72 runners. The vast majority of them are running the 24 hours. I don't have an exact count, but it's probably about 55 of them running in the 24-hour race, with a smaller number in the 12-hour and more in the 6-hour race.
And what can we expect to be going on at midnight tonight?
Well, there'll be a lot of noise and a lot of noisemakers. We'll have fireworks off the southern end of the island in West Palm Beach. We'll be able to watch, and there are a lot of boaters up at the northern end of the island who'll be tooting their horns. And I think there'll be a few people here that brought some alcoholic beverages, and they'll be out here having a good time and celebrating New Year appropriately.
Tell us a little bit about Peanut Island. It's a park. It's just off the coast of Riviera Beach in the Intracoastal Waterway. Pretty interesting place to hold an event such as this.
It's an interesting place and a beautiful island. And if anybody in the audience hasn't been here, you got to check it out. It's beautiful here. The park was totally redone about 7 or 8 years ago. They removed all the invasive species and replanted this island with all local species. It's also a natural habitat. Peanut Island it's an 80-acre island, by the way, with a 1.25 mile trail around its perimeter, and that's the trail we're running the race on. This island started life as a place where they dumped the dredge, the spoil, the rock that they pulled out when they cut the inlet out to the ocean. They dropped it all here. It was an island that at one time there were plans to make this a place where peanut oil was shipped from back and forth, like a terminal for peanut oil. Well, the commerce didn't work, but the name stuck, and therefore Peanut Island. And one other little bit of history, when John Kennedy was president, his family had a big compound in Palm Beach, so they would come here to visit. The Secret Service put in a bunker in the event of some type of hydrogen or nuclear war, a bunker here on the island for his protection, which can be toured today. It's a pretty rugged little nondescript bunker from early 60s, but it's here.
All right, and that's the setting for the first Peanut Island 24 Ultramarathon, and we're here on New Year's Eve. Quite an unusual setting for New Year's Eve, but people seem to be having a good time. A lot of people look like they're going to camp out, and the weather's great. Should be a good night.
Craig, thank you. Yeah, people here are having a very good time. It's a very social event as well as a competition. It's one of the beauties of this type of race. People get to see their friends and run with their friends, bring their families. So it's a real race and a heavy competition, but it's also, as I say, a very social event, good time. Mark.
Mark Drout's former mayor of Lake Worth. He's about 7 hours into the Peanut Island 24. How's it going so far?
Hey, it's going pretty good so far. You know, just it's a stiff wind, so it's a little tough running here, but just keep going through the night, see what happens.
Yeah, how do you feel so far?
Pretty good so far. A little cramping here and there, but you just got to go through it. You know, it's part of the game.
It's John Williams of Miami, who races everything from 400 meters to today he's doing his first ultra marathon. You're going to do the 6-hour version.
Correct.
Talk about why you're doing it and what you're hoping to get out of it.
I'm doing it because it seems like a new challenge, something I haven't done before. Don't know what I'm going to get out of it. You know, Bob, the race director, asked me. He said, "Why are you doing my race? What do you think? You know, why are you interested?" I don't know. Other than it sounded cool for New Year's Eve.
Little different than going out partying, a different sort of partying. I'm sure there's going to be partying here in the campsite tonight.
Absolutely. We've got some champagne. I'm hoping right as I finish at midnight, I'll have some champagne, pass out.
You'll definitely be tired by then.
Oh, I will be.
What's the farthest or the longest you've run at one time before going into
I did last December. Jeffrey supported me, and I did a 50K up in Tallahassee. It's the Tallahassee Ultra Distance Classic. And their shortest race they had was a 50K, and I ran for 3 hours and 40 minutes, and that's the longest I've ever run before, and that was tough on me. He said I was pretty grumpy at the end of that, so
tonight's going to be almost the twice as far as you've ever run at one time before.
Maybe. You're absolutely right. At least twice as long, that's for sure.
Well, what this wind is going to do, it's been a surprise all day, I can tell you that. It was not expected, but actually people are telling me that it's kind of cools you off, and it's good. You will get it kind of in your face when you go over to the east side. It's a little strong, but it'll be at your back too for part of the race. So hopefully it'll kind of balance out. You should know this, but run or stop or walk or go take a nap or take a trip.
Yeah, it's in my bag.
4, 3, 2, 1, go!
That's the second 6-hour heat going off in the Peanut Island 24.